With 2.3 a week away, I think now's a great time to talk about all the characters that are going to be released or rerunning and how valuable they might be for your account. Now just a reminder, if you really want one of these characters, don't listen to me or any other content creator, just pull them. All limited characters have ways to clear content in this game and you won't be disappointed with what you get. Regardless, I'm still going to run through all the strengths and weaknesses of each character, so if you are super unsure of who you want, I can maybe help with your decision. First up, we have one of the fan favorites with Firefly. Firefly is going to be furthering Hoyo's brigade in making break effect teams a fully fledged archetype. Similar to Bruthill, she's going to be another break damage hypercarry. Now, how Firefly is going to work is her skill is going to be a big HP drain, but it also fills a huge amount of energy for her. When she uses her ult, she enters an enhanced state called the combustion state, where Firefly starts doing her main source of damage. Her skill and basic become enhanced, with her skill being able to implant fire weakness, and it also now does blast damage. Now in this enhanced state, she also gets increased break effect, weakness break efficiency, and a lot of speed. To dumb it right down, she basically functions as a blast version of Bruthill, where most of her damage is coming from breaking enemies or super break after they've already been broken. Now because she is break focused, her team comps are going to be a little limited because she can't really make use of crit attack or damage percent buffers. Her teams are mainly focused on Ruan Mei, Harmony Trailblazer, and Gallagher, and then you can maybe throw in some debuffers like Pella or Silverwolf. Despite this, since Bruthill wasn't a one-off character, and break DPSs seem to be a thing that may appear more in the future, there's a really good chance that more supports, whether 4-star or 5-star, will join the character pool and will help break effect teams. Now in terms of power level, we can't actually be sure until she's out, but since she is a fan favorite, and we did see how Hoyo treated another fan favorite Acheron, I'm going to say pretty confidently that she's going to be a really strong character. If you want to use Bruthill as a baseline, I'm guessing she's not going to match his single target damage, but just do a little less across 3 targets instead, which is honestly better most of the time anyway. If you are happy to focus on break effect teams, Firefly is going to be a S+ pool. Very strong DPS unit that can implant fire weakness consistently, so basically universal as well. Her only weakness as of now seems to just be how limited her teams are and her reliance on Ruan Mei, but that could easily be fixed with future releases. With that in mind, if you don't have interest in break effect teams and don't have or want to pull characters like Ruan Mei or similar supports in the future, Firefly is going to drop down to an A tier pool. Firefly really requires you to fully commit into this break effect playstyle to fully draw out her strengths. Well, speaking of Ruan Mei, it's no coincidence that she's going to be running alongside Firefly. Now Ruan Mei is no doubt one of the best support characters in the game, and with this break effect age coming through, she's only gotten more valuable. She's basically this universal support that can help teams regardless of what type of damage they do. She's best in slot for the obvious aforementioned break teams. She's tied best support with Robin for dot teams. She's really good in dual DPS because of her team-wide buffs, but she also brings a great amount to hypercarry setups. And she's also one of the few supports that don't have any wasted buffs on unique scalers like Blade. At this point in the game, Ruan Mei is arguably the closest character we have to being a must pull from a meta perspective. With that in mind though, she is most likely not going to stay as this universal support forever. Like I said before, since break is a genuine team archetype now, it seems very likely that Ruan Mei will not stay as the only character with weakness break efficiency buffs and her weakness break delay. The damage percent buff on her skill doesn't even do much at all for full break characters like Firefly and Bruthill, so it's not too much of a tall order to release a stronger break support. For now though, Ruan Mei is sitting as a S+ pool, since speculating about the future can only get us so far. She was relatively equal to Robin and Sparkle prior to Bruthill and Firefly, but I think with these two now in the game, Ruan Mei has an edge over them by being far superior in break teams. Now we do need to quickly go over vertical investment with Ruan Mei. Her E1 is one of the strongest eidolons in the game, as it can basically make any DPS do a lot of damage. Whenever you see weaker characters like Arlen do really fast clears of MOC, it's normally off the back of E1 Ruan Mei or the very similar E2 Sparkle. If you're interested in doing 0 to 1 cycle clears consistently with a wide variety of characters and aren't afraid to vertically invest, I would honestly consider pulling for Ruan Mei's E1. Now, before we move on to the second half banners, we're also going to quickly look at the 4-stars because they're actually pretty good this time. We're going to have Misha, Shuold, and Gallagher as our 3 4-stars. Now, Shuold and Misha are both 4-star DPS units that scale pretty well with eidolons, with Shuold in my opinion being stronger, especially with Super Break, and she has a very powerful E6 if she's a character you're interested in. Gallagher is currently one of the best sustains in the game and the absolute best for break DPS like Firefly. He is playable at E0 but becomes a lot more comfortable after E2 where he gets his cleanse, and at E6 he can start doing really good damage with super break. Basically you have 3 characters that scale really well with Eidolons, with Gallagher in my opinion being worth the investment to build for most players if you are going to be playing break teams. So this banner, regardless of who you're pulling for, is really good. Okay, on to the second half. Our new character on this side is going to be our next IPC Stoneheart, Jade. Now Jade is also a follow-up attack unit, just like her other IPC buddies, except she doesn't really synergize that well with the IPC follow-up team we have right now. She's more suited for pure fiction. Similar to how Topaz is basically a Nihility Hunt mix, Jade is a bit like a Harmony Erudition mix. Quick rundown on how she works. Jade's skill buffs a character, and when this character attacks, they drain their own HP and Jade gains stacks for each enemy this character hits. At 8 stacks, Jade will unleash a follow-up attack, which is her main source of damage. Her ultimate works pretty much identical to Topaz, except with an initial nuke, but then it just buffs 2 of her subsequent follow-up attacks. Now the first most obvious synergy is going to be Blade. Now I can say without a doubt that Blade, Jade, and either Bronya or Ruan Mei is going to be Blade's new best team in pure fiction, mainly because Blade's full AoE attack in his follow-ups are going to be much more frequent, and Jade is obviously going to do absurd damage as well. Now while the synergy is definitely there, and I would love Jade to be the character that takes Blade to new heights, I'm going to remain doubtful on whether this is Blade's new general best team, mainly because Jade's damage isn't going to shine as much in blast scenarios and definitely not be as impressive in single target, and she's also competing for a team slot against very strong support characters like Ruan Mei, Sparkle, and Bronya. Now outside of Blade, Jade seems to also work really well with characters who just have a lot of AoE. Herder and Himiko come to mind first because of how much AoE damage they can do in pure fiction. They're going to be prime candidates for funneling Jade's own follow-up attack. If you are a player who is struggling in pure fiction and wants a unit that can carry one side easily for you, I would say Jade is a S tier pull. If you're very comfortable in pure fiction and don't really struggle at all with what you have on your account, she's still going to be an A tier pull because I think pure fiction is going to go down the path of getting a lot harder. As of now, I think it's pretty fair to say pure fiction has been decently easy compared to MOC, mainly because of just how the game mode works, but also because we all have Herder for free. Now with Jade and Argenti running at the same time, I can say for sure Hoyoverse definitely are not making pure fiction easy while these two are on banner. We've already seen MOC HP pools trend up a significant amount in recent patches, and to be fair, pure fiction has also been getting harder little by little, but with a character like Jade coming out, I can only assume they're going to make this difficulty increase even more rapid. And if this ends up being correct, I think Jade's still going to be a decent pull even if you find pure fiction really easy right now. Argenti is our final character, and just like Jade, he's also very much pure fiction coded. Now unlike other pure fiction carries like Himiko, Herder, and Jade, he doesn't really make use of follow-up attacks to clear through waves, but rather does it through spamming his ultimate. Now my pulling opinions for Jade and Argenti are very similar, because they are very similar in what they do for your account. Unfortunately though, I do feel like Argenti is going to be the weaker of the two characters when it comes to pure fiction. For MOC and the new Apocalyptic Shadow, it's hard to say which of the two will be stronger though. I think so far Argenti is honestly a bit underrated with how he performs in MOC, as he can clear pretty comfortably, especially in more AoE scenarios, but in general he does get pretty outdone by other DPS units. Argenti for players struggling in pure fiction is going to be just under Jade as an A tier pull, and for players who are doing fine in pure fiction, he's going to be a B tier pull. Now just to summarize how I rated all the characters: Firefly, if you have Ruan Mei and are willing to commit to break teams, S+ tier pull. If you don't have Ruan Mei and don't plan on getting her or other future break supports, A tier pull. Ruan Mei is going to be an S+ tier pull, no strings attached. She's really just that good. But don't feel too pressured to pull her if you don't want her. She's not game breaking by any means, and she'll definitely get more competition in her break effect niche very soon. Jade, for players struggling in pure fiction, is a S tier pull, and for those who are clearing comfortably, she's still gonna be an A tier pull. And finally Argenti, basically following Jade just one tier under, needs some help with pure fiction, he's gonna be an A tier pull, And if you're all good in that department, he's going to be a B tier pull. And just a final reminder, like I said at the start of the video, if you really want any of these characters, don't listen to me or any other YouTuber, just pull for them, no matter what your reason is. All limited 5 stars have their ways of clearing content, so you won't be disappointed with who you get. And at the end of the day, if you can't fully clear Pure Fiction, MOC, or Apocalyptic Shadow, you're really only missing out on a few pulls a month, so it's not too bad. And that's pretty much it for me. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please smash that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time.